Here's the rewritten script, crafted to preserve the exact meaning, structure, and sequence of ideas from the original while using fresh, original wording to ensure it's engaging, natural, and copyright safe. The tone, intent, and emotional impact remain unchanged, and the language is designed to feel authentic and pass AI detection or plagiarism checks. I've included the request to subscribe to the channel as instructed. When you're the overlooked child, an engagement doesn't carry weight. Be grateful we even bothered raising you. My mother snapped, her hand flicking me away like I was a nuisance at her doorstep. My father sat beside her mute, his gaze locked on his coffee mug, as if I didn't deserve a glance. Those words, those expressions seared into me. I bore their sting in solitude. The night of my engagement felt like an empty hall no one cared to step into. Hey everyone, I'm Claire Monroe, 27 years old. If you think you can predict how this tale wraps up, stick around because their silence sparks something louder than any words they'd ever uttered. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more. Imagine it, my small apartment balcony, draped in twinkling lights. My fiancé's hand shook as he slipped a ring onto my finger. Friends clapped, their laughter warming the night. Yet the absence of two people echoed louder than the joy. My parents didn't show up. No call, no message, not even a text. Days later, everything changed. One photo, just one, shifted the tide. My new Tesla, sparkling white in the sunlight, posted with a simple caption, "Effort brings rewards." I wasn't trying to boast. It was my triumph, my proof of independence, everything they swore I'd never achieve. To them, though, it was a flare. That night, my phone vibrated. My father's voice cut through before I could speak. "Where'd you get that kind of money?" "Family meeting tomorrow. Don't you dare be late." His tone wasn't curious. It was accusation, control, almost rage that I'd stepped beyond the cage they built for me. I stared at my phone long after the call, heart racing. They ignored my engagement, brushed off my joy, erased my value. But the moment they saw something valuable, something costly, they suddenly remembered I was their daughter. That's when the fire ignited inside me. If they thought tomorrow's meeting would be another chance to diminish me, they were mistaken. I had a plan, a quiet surprise ready to tilt the scales forever. A surprise that would turn their own words into blades against them. If you've ever been through this, drop same in the comments. Tomorrow, they wouldn't just face their daughter. They'd meet the woman who learned to fight back with grace and evidence. The night before their so-called family meeting, I sat cross-legged on my living room rug, my laptop casting a soft glow in the dim light of a single lamp. My fiancé, Mark, leaned against the sofa, his eyes gentle but worried. "You don't owe them a thing, Claire," he said, his voice calm, as if he sensed the fight I was gearing up for. "I know," I murmured, fingers dancing across the keyboard, pulling up documents, bank records, images, memories stored in digital files. This wasn't about owing them. It was about dismantling the narrative they'd forced on me my whole life. The story that painted me as the letdown, the wasted effort, the daughter destined to fail. I recalled my father's words when I picked business school over his tiny repair shop. "You're throwing away your time." Women don't create legacies, they marry into them. Those words stuck to my bones like jagged shards. Yet here I was, 27, running a marketing startup that secured 3 major contracts in under 2 years. I hadn't just built something, I'd built freedom. The Tesla was merely a symbol. The real prize was the independence they never thought I deserved. As midnight loomed, I visualized tomorrow. I saw their faces when I entered the room they'd prepared for their judgment. I heard their sharp questions. "Who funded you? What man pulled strings? You're hiding something." And I planned my silence, not fury, not yelling, but silence backed by undeniable proof. Mark took my hand. "What if they still don't value you?" My voice came out colder than I meant. "Then value isn't what I'm after. I'm here to break their hold on me." I shut my laptop. The plan solidified in my heart. Tomorrow I wouldn't just defend myself. I'd rewrite the story they trapped me in since childhood. Their silence on my engagement night would be the last silence I'd tolerate. Tomorrow, I'd speak with evidence and let them grapple with it. The morning of the family meeting felt colder than it should have. September sunlight streamed through my blinds, but a chill lingered in my bones no blanket could warm. I dressed with purpose, a navy blazer over a crisp white blouse, hair pulled back neatly, shoes gleaming, not loud, not relaxed, but professional. The version of me they refused to see, but the one I'd become. Driving the Tesla to their house felt dreamlike. Each turn of the wheel counted down to the moment. My breath stayed even, but my pulse thrummed faster than the car's quiet hum. Their house looked unchanged, cream bricks, black shutters, the lawn trimmed to perfection. But stepping out of the car, I felt taller, no longer the girl who craved their approval. Inside, the scent of coffee and polished would hit me. My mother sat on the sofa, arms folded, lips pinched tight. My father stood by the window, his stance rigid, like a commander ready to question a subordinate. He began, his voice heavy with familiar authority. "You've been stashing money, showing off cars online. Where's it from?" I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled a folder from my bag and set it carefully on the coffee table. The silence stretched, broken only by the faint tick of the hallway's grandfather clock. "What's this?" my mother asked, her voice dripping with distrust. "Proof," I said evenly, my voice steady. My father's brow creased as he leafed through the pages. His jaw tightened at the sight of signatures, client names, profits laid out in stark black and white. "You're saying you did this?" he muttered, disbelief sharp as a blade. "Yes," I answered simply. "No man, no family charity. Just me." The room grew heavy, their silence louder than their past insults. In that moment, I realized this wasn't their interrogation anymore. It was my unveiling. My father's fingers twitched on the papers as if the truth might scald him. My mother leaned forward, eyes narrowing, hunting for flaws in my composure. "This doesn't add up," she said, her tone cutting. "You don't have the focus. Someone's behind this. No woman your age could handle clients like these." There it was, the familiar sting. Not doubt in the evidence, but doubt in me. I breathed deeply, letting the silence tighten before I spoke. "That's the tale you've always spun about me. That I'm careless, incapable, second-rate. But you never bothered to watch me work while you were too busy writing me off." Mark's words from the night before rang in my mind, and their story. So I did. I pulled out my phone, tapped the screen, and cast images onto their pristine living room TV. My office, bustling with staff. Client meetings where I led the room. Graphs showing campaign successes. A photo from my company's 1-year anniversary. Ribbons sliced cleanly in half. "Still think someone else did this?" I asked softly. For a moment, my mother's mouth parted, but no sound came. My father spoke, his voice low and bitter. "So you bought that car to shove it in our faces?" I met his stare directly. "No, I bought it because I earned it. That it bothers you says more about you than me." The room felt like a war zone. My father clutching his pride like a weapon, my mother grasping for excuses, and me standing taller with every breath. I hadn't come to plead for their approval. I'd come to show that what they tried to bury refused to stay down. Their silence was no longer control. It was proof of their defeat. Yet beneath their anger, I saw a flicker in their eyes, not respect, not pride, but something raw fear. For the first time, they realized they couldn't rein me in, and that scared them more than my success ever could. My father set the folder down with a heavy thud, his knuckles pale against the wood. My mother shifted, her pearl earrings glinting as she found her voice. "You think this car, this company, makes you one of us," she sneered. "Money doesn't change your place in this family." I nearly laughed because what place? The empty seat at every birthday meal? The ignored calls when I struggled to pay rent? The silence on my engagement night? I leaned forward, hands clasped calmly in my lap. "No, Mom. Money doesn't erase anything, it reveals it. And the truth is, you only see me now because of what I have, not who I am." The words hung thick in the air. My father's eyes narrowed. "Don't get smart with us, Claire. Family is family, and family supports each other. That means if you have wealth, you share it." There it was, the trap. Not pride in my achievements, not regret for years of dismissal, just entitlement. Greed dressed up as kinship. I tilted my head, a small smile forming. "Share? You mean after you ignored my milestones, mock my dreams, and label me a failure? Now, I'm suddenly worthy of the family name because I can buy things you want to flaunt. My mother's face reddened. Watch how you talk to us. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. No, watch how you talk to me. Because tomorrow isn't about proving myself anymore. It's about what you expose when you can't control me. The clock chimed in the hall. I stood slowly, tucking the folder back into my bag. Their silence trailed me like a ghost. Before leaving, I turned one last time. You asked where the money came from. Now you know. But tomorrow, at the surprise I've planned, you'll see where my strength truly comes from. Their eyes flickered with confusion, suspicion, even unease. For the first time, I left their house carrying their fear instead of my shame. That night, sleep eluded me, not from nerves, but from clarity. The surprise I'd prepared wasn't just about the Tesla or the contracts. It was about rewriting the story in a way they couldn't ignore, no matter how hard they tried. By morning, my plan was in motion. Mark and I drove together, his hand steady on the console. As we neared the downtown hotel, my chest tightened, not with fear, but with anticipation. I'd invited my parents to what they assumed was a private discussion. They didn't know it was my company's investor brunch, a celebration of hitting our first million in revenue, attended by my team, clients, and new partners. When my parents stepped into the ballroom, their eyes widened. Chandeliers cast a golden glow. Suited investors mingled over coffee, and a banner stretched across the front. Monroe Strategies, shaping marketing's future. My mother froze. What is this? She hissed under her breath. This, I said calmly, is where your daughter stands now, and where you chose not to stand with her. They were led to reserved seats near the front. My father's jaw tightened, his pride caught between defiance and defeat. My mother looked like she'd swallowed a stone, her eyes scanning the room as if hoping to vanish. Then the MC called my name. I stepped onto the stage, lights warming my face, microphone steady in my hand. My voice was firm, rehearsed, but inside, years of hurt sharpened into strength. 2 years ago, I was told I'd never build anything worthwhile. Today, I stand here not just with proof of what I've created, but with a team that believed when others doubted, clients who trusted when others scoffed. I glanced at my parents. Their faces were ashen, trapped between disbelief and the stark truth. And this, I concluded, is only the start. The applause roared like a tidal wave, and my parents sat motionless, exposed in a storm they never anticipated. The cheers echoed through the ballroom, swelling until they drowned out every harsh word they'd ever thrown at me. For the first time, their silence didn't shrink me, it lifted me. I stepped off the stage to handshakes, clinking glasses, and warm congratulations. My team rallied around me, beaming with pride. Investors nodded with respect. Clients spoke of future collaborations. And there, in the midst of it all, sat my parents, silent, cornered, their pride crushed under the weight of undeniable truth. My mother leaned toward me as I passed, her voice a sharp whisper. You humiliated us. You made us look insignificant. I paused, turning just enough for her to see the resolve in my eyes. No, I showed you exactly who you are. You ignored me when I needed you, and now the world knows I never needed you at all. My father's fists clenched on the armrests. Family matters stay private, he muttered, his voice faltering. I crouched slightly, speaking so only they could hear. You made my life a public spectacle every chance you had. Tonight, I simply held up a mirror. I didn't wait for their response. Instead, I walked toward Mark, who stood by the exit, pride shining in his gaze. Ready, he asked softly. I nodded, more certain than ever. As we left the ballroom, I caught a final glimpse of my parents. My father sat stiff, his jaw locked, but his eyes held something new. Not control, not mockery, but fear. My mother seemed smaller than ever, clutching her pearls as if they could steady her. For the first time, I saw them not as towering villains, but as flawed, fragile people, desperate to hold on to power they'd lost. And their grip on me was gone for good. But I wasn't done. The real surprise, the one that would close this chapter on my terms, was still to come. The next morning, the air felt lighter, as if years of weight had already lifted. But the final scene was yet to play out. My parents thought the investor brunch was the peak. They were wrong. The true ending was meant to be subtle, poetic, unassailable. I'd invited them to my office, my company's headquarters. The glass building gleamed against the sky, my company's name carved in silver letters across the entrance. When they arrived, their gazes flicked upward, the logo's reflection hitting them like a truth they couldn't escape. Inside, I led them past rows of employees who greeted me with warmth and respect. I wanted them to see what real family looked like, the kind you choose, not the one you're born into. We reached the conference room. On the table sat a single envelope. My father eyed it warily. "What's this? Another show?" I slid it toward them. "It's my will," I said plainly. Their faces paled. "Your will," my mother echoed, her voice catching. "Yes, a legal statement that not 1 cent of what I've built will ever reach your hands. It goes to my future children, to Mark, and to a foundation I've started for young women entrepreneurs who were told they'd never succeed." The silence that followed was crushing. My father's pride crumbled inward. My mother's lips quivered, silent. I leaned forward, my voice steady and clear. "You ignored my engagement. You dismissed my value. You only came running when money appeared. Now you'll watch me rise, knowing you'll never touch what I've created. That's my revenge, not cruelty, not shouting, just truth set in ink." Mark squeezed my hand under the table. My parents stared at the envelope like it was a tomb sealing their control forever. I stood, escorting them to the door. No anger lingered in my chest. No need for another word. They entered my office as my judges. They left as strangers,